My submission to you, madam, is that you will be a developed country before 2047. Today, you are slowly but surely on your way to becoming the third largest economy if this rate of growth continues. Per capita income has gone up in this country, doubled since 2014 and now. What the Honorable Prime Minister said was, Viksit Desh, developed country by 2047 on Amrit Kal. All the indices of a developed country, your size of your economy, the GDP, the role of education, health, social sector, all that is improving.
Why do you think the opposition has been up in arms? Why do you think the opposition is still opposing?
No. First of all, the opposition has been playing spoil sport now for much longer than we remember. I can tell you the parliament, new parliament, its conceptualization, its construction in record time, and the collective contribution of the nation, its workers, to the founding fathers. It is a temple of democracy. I thought there was an opportunity in here for the opposition to rise above their petty stand. Some of them did. You had a very interesting situation there. There were a lot of political opposition there. But some people, over a period of time, on account of factors which are pretty well known, I mean the TMC, for instance, or the Congress, or let's say Lalu Prasad ji's party, their overall discourse has become shrill and it has become, in fact, antagonistic. And therefore, I don't think the nation even took note of that. And let me say, I was in that parliament. It was once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm really grateful to God that, one was there at that point of time and has been associated with it. Do you think anybody bothered whether Mr. X was there or Mr. Y was there? There's one member of parliament from one of those parties who's been tweeting all kinds of, nonsense on it. Is he taken seriously? No, even if there was a, place for, theatrics of the, bizarre comedy type, even there they wouldn't take him seriously. Today, what is happening? Parliament is merely symbolic. It is a temple of democracy. But look at where the country has come in the last 9 years. You were the 10th largest economy or the 5th largest economy. Today, you are slowly but surely on your way to becoming the third largest economy if this rate of growth continues. And who knows, by 2024 or 2025, and you are going from that on to a $7, $8, $10 trillion economy. Per capita income has gone up in this country, doubled since 2014 and now. The figures I'm getting you, if you go by the Ernst & Young projection, by 2040, you will be a $28 trillion economy. What the Honorable Prime Minister said was, Viksit Desh, developed country by 2047 on Amrit Kal. My submission to you, madam, is that you will be a developed country before 2047. Why? Because all the indices of a developed country, your size of your economy, the GDP, the role of education, health, social sector, all that is improving. I mean, how many countries in the world, how many were able to produce 224 crore vaccine doses and distribute them free, send them also to a large number of countries outside India? So I think it's a really moment of great joy. I know there is part of human nature, when something is going well, you want to throw in a discordant note, make it shrill, because you have other issues to it. But I don't think that detracts. When the history of this period is written, I don't think these people will even find a footnote mention in that.
You're speaking about the economy, you're speaking about the $5 trillion economy that the Prime Minister has spoken about, the way forward. But it seems that a former finance minister, Mr. P. Chidambaram, is not convinced, and he's put out a series of tweets questioning the government in terms of the numbers.
I'll tell you something about Mr. Chidambaram. I had the privilege of working for him. With due respect, I want to tell him, I just want to pick on one thing he has said. He's looked at petroleum prices. Mr. Chidambaram, when you were finance minister, you chose to address an immediate problem by kicking the solution down the generation or two. He floated something called oil bonds for 1,41,000 crores. Today we are having to pay 3,50,000 crores back. This is Mr. Chidambaram. But I must tell you, Mr. Chidambaram, with all his faults, occasionally when he sees the progress around, he cannot but display that even he is impressed in parts. But I think on an occasion like this, Mr. Chidambaram has to do some serious introspection and soul searching, because often enough he would like to claim credit for some of the good that's taking place. I also saw some statement by the Congress party, I don't know whether it was him or somebody else, oh, you were able to do this because we did this. What did you do? I take the health sector. Between 2004 and 14, the limited manufacturing capacity we had in the public sector for making vaccines, you dismantled it. So we would have happily built on you. If you had some facilities, you built them, we would have built on that. But you dismantled what existed, so we had to build from scratch. So I can give you many examples. Let me tell you with the areas I deal with. I already gave you the example of oil bonds and things. Let me give you an area of the housing sector. What did we do? We, that is Pradhan Mantri Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, started the metro. And because it was started when Vajpayee ji was Prime Minister, after that it was very slow. And came Mr. Modi. He took the national metro, which stood at about 240 kilometers when Mr. Modi took over. Today it's at 860. I maybe figure here and there. And we've got another 1,039 kilometers under construction. Let me give you another figure. Today we are at number 5. We are going to overtake Japan and Korea in terms of the kilometrage. And within a limited short period of time, we will overtake the United States. India will have the second largest metro network in the world. Let me give you our petroleum refining capacity. We today have 252 million metric tons per annum. We are going to take it up, we are at number 4 if I'm not mistaken. We will take it up to 400 and 450 million metric tons per annum, which I think will be the second largest in the world. So India is on the march. The new India that the Honorable Prime Minister has envisaged, that is showing results on the ground. Those figures are, look at the number of Jan Dhan accounts, look at the kind of payouts that is taking place under Fasal Bima Yojana. I mean, you name any sector. But the whole thing is, it is couched in the philosophy of governance, Sushasan, Samaj Seva, and it is targeted at those who are the most vulnerable part. In fact, when we talk about, and I spent 39 years in the Foreign Service, when you talk about development, I can say with confidence, the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations will succeed because India will succeed. And India will succeed, and thereby the SDG global success will take place.
You've been in the foreign services, you've served as ambassador in the past as well. What difference do you see the way the world looks at Narendra Modi and India 2014 onwards as well?
If you're asking me this question on the 30th of May, you're making it easy for me. The Honorable Prime Minister has just come back from a 3-nation tour: Japan, the South Pacific, Papua New Guinea, and Australia. Forget about the respect he got at the G7. I mean, the Prime Minister being received warmly by the President of the United States, who tells him, look, you're coming to DC next month, and I'm receiving so many requests for attending your state dinner that I'm having difficulty in accommodating, and then I'm going to ask for the autograph. Put it aside. The Prime Minister of Australia says, Mr. Prime Minister, I've never seen this kind of a crowd in the Sydney Opera House. The only time I saw something resembling this was when Bruce Springsteen played there, and then said Modi is the boss. And then when he landed first, I've taken this sequentially, when he landed in Port Moresby, it's not just a gesture of the Prime Minister of the host country receiving him with that deference, with that reverence, but what he said in his speech. What did he say? He said, we are particularly delighted because you have come from amongst us. And you today are providing a decisive voice in the G7 and the G20. And because you've come from us, we want you to be our leader. Now, this is a kind of, look, I have, a lot of Indian prime ministers have commanded respect. It's not my case, but this is a completely new ball game.
My final question to you, we're talking about 2024 in a year's time as well. You've seen the kind of opposition that the likes of Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal have given to your government, the kind of name calling that has been done of the Prime Minister as well. The opposition is also trying to come in together. How would you like to respond to the attack by Mamata Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal on the Modi government? And do you think the opposition can come together and form a platform?
I want to be very correct and dignified in what I say. So I'm tempted to say that I treat their comments with the contempt that they deserve, but I won't say that. I mean, that is what I feel like, but I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to tell you is, let Mr. Kejriwal first deal with the Congress party. The Congress party does not want to associate itself with what he wants to do in the administration of Delhi on the issue of powers on relating to services. In the few days that there was this, before the ordinance came, he hounded officers. There was an officer, I don't remember his name, maybe Rajshekhar, who was the secretary in charge of services. They raided his room at, I think, well past midnight, spent 34 or 40 minutes there, took out files, took them to an adjoining room. Officers, jo inki ishare pe nahi chal rahe the, their families in Punjab have been hounded by the government there. So the less we talk about Mr. Kejriwal, who was the muffler man, the Aam Aadmi, who started his political career in the Anna Hazare movement against corruption, that Aam Aadmi today has got a 20,000 square feet plus palatial house, which has all the trappings of opulence, which you normally associate not with democratically elected leaders, but which you associate with monarchs. So much for Mr. Kejriwal's comment. Insofar as Mamata ji's comments are concerned, we don't have enough time, but I have a lot to say.